Hello, and welcome to another Money Counts, a financial literacy series put on by the Sokolov-Miller Family Financial and Life Skills Center. My name is Julie Heaton. I am director of the center, and I am thrilled to be sharing another Money Count series with you on dining on a budget today. A little bit more about what the center does. We are a financial literacy hub at PSU for the entire Penn State community to learn more about their personal finances. So you can see from our services listed on the screen that we offer lots and lots of opportunities to engage with your personal finances, build your financial literacy and life skills. In addition to group presentations and webinars like this one, we also have self-study modules where you can study at your own pace, you can connect with a mentor, or you can participate in workshops or one-on-one appointments on pretty much any financial literacy topic that you're interested in. So although today we're going to be talking about one specific corner of financial literacy, if you find that you'd like help with dining on a budget or any type of budgeting or other personal finance topic, please get in touch with the center and we are happy to work with you. So why devote an entire webinar to talking about budgeting for food? So many of you have probably attended some of our overall budgeting webinars and work and presentations. Today, we're just zoning in on sort of one corner of our budget, and that is dining or food. And the reason that we're going to take the time to zoom in on that small section is because food is a really important part of our budget and it can be extra difficult. So food is supposed to be, if you're sort of following the industry standard for how much of your budget should be taken up by food and dining, it says that 20% of our budget should be dedicated to food. That's quite a lot when you look at it in the larger context, kind of all of these things that we have to budget for. Second only to housing, which is going to be that 1/3 or close to 30% of your monthly budget costs. So 20%, right? If we can figure out how to make that 20% really effective, or if we're budgeting more than that in our monthly budget, how to get down to 20%, we have the opportunity to create greater liquidity in our budgets, create greater savings, more money freedom to do the things we want with our extra income that comes in. So it's pretty difficult to budget for food. That is partially because it's such a large expense, such a large anticipated expense, but it's also because unlike your housing, which is another large expense, it's a variable expense. So housing, we generally know what our rent or our mortgage is going to be each month, whereas food, those costs can really vary depending on sort of what your habits are, how much you're dining out, how much you're eating in, what foods you're buying at the grocery store, what time of year it is. Is it a holiday? Are you going to pay extra for food? Are you traveling? So it's hard to kind of nail down a single itemized budget for food and stick to that because we buy different foods each month, each week, and we need to account for that in our budget and pay extra attention to that. We also need to account for inflation. So food is really affected by inflation because as the cost of goods and services rise, one of the most common things that we're buying on a weekly, monthly basis it is groceries and dining out and other food items. So it's going to be one of the places that our pocketbook really feels inflation more immediately. So we're going to do this little deep dive on our food budget, our dining budget. And I also want to note that this is going to look different for everyone. So if you're joining us as a student and you're living on campus somewhere, your dining on a budget is going to be different than your budget for dining if you are living in the community and maybe you have a family. But we're going to try and address sort of both situations, recognizing that even if you are living on campus, there still is the necessity to look really carefully at how you're spending your food budget. And even if you live on campus, you're going to be shopping for probably some base groceries in the community, maybe. So hopefully this is useful to everyone, regardless of where you're coming from. But this is a really important piece of our budget that is worth taking a closer look at. So we're going to start with 5 habits that can help you more effectively manage your food budget. The first habit is to just have a plan, specifically a meal plan. And this is the really fun piece of developing healthy habits around your dining budget. And that's because you get to think about food. You get to think about what you like to eat, what sort of meals you like to eat, what goes into preparing that meal, what are the different ingredients. So if you're at all a foodie or you just even like eating food, this might be more of the fun side of beginning your budget for meal planning. And so on the screen, you can see an example of what this might look like. There's so many tools. If you just search weekly meal plans, monthly meal plans, there's so many tools online that you can use. But here's an example of one from familyfreshmeals.com, where you can just sort of break down what kind of meals am I having from a Monday to Friday? How are we breaking up our meals? Do we have a separate go-to meal for breakfast, lunch, dinner? So start with making a short list, keep it simple, of meals that you plan to eat throughout a week, or meals that you commonly serve your family throughout a week. If you're a student on campus, think about places that you eat on campus really frequently. Keep it simple, keep it under 4. And the reason I say that is that a lot of times, if we have sort of these base go-to meals, that gives us a little bit of room in our meal planning to maybe add in a surprise dining out experience, or maybe you have a craving for something in particular. So keep it down, keep it under 4 meals that you're really excited about making and that you feel like you could eat and make on a consistent basis. Once you have that list going, let's say one of those is spaghetti. I want you to break that meal down into its ingredients, the elements that you might actually need to buy to make that meal. The reason we're doing this work before we even start applying kind of the budget, the money side to it, how much does each of these things cost, is because I want you to do a really thorough inventory of what are the items that you have to buy to contribute to 3 to 4 meals a week that you know you're going to eat. When you have that sort of inventory of ingredients listed out, see where you can overlap. So let me give you an example. Let's say one of your meals is spaghetti and another one is like a pasta salad, right? Could you buy the same pasta for those 2 different meals? Maybe could save you a little bit. Do you have a base ingredient for different things? Maybe you use olive oil for both. So think about where you can overlap and simplify some of those ingredients that you need. This will ultimately allow you to save in the long run because you're making sure that you're buying really effectively for multiple meals a week and not just a ton of expensive ingredients for one meal and a completely different list of ingredients for another meal. Also think really strategically about leftovers here. So in my family, we have like 3 or 4 go-to meals a week, and then we really do rely on leftovers for, supplementing lunches that we take to work, or maybe a dinner that's sort of a la carte, eat from the fridge. So this is why it's so important to start with what are you actually planning to eat and what will you actually eat. Don't put something on this weekly meal plan that's not going to be something that your family is going to eat or that you're going to eat. So this leads me to the sort of the second half of this first habit, which is for those of you who are living on campus. It's so important to understand your meal plan. Have a plan for your meal plan. So the way meal plans work at Penn State is that there's a base cost. Think of this as the fee for having this meal plan. And then on top of that base cost of how much you've paid, the rest of that is going to be your remaining dining dollars. And this works just really similarly to cash. It's money that you have on your card that you're able to spend at dining facilities on campus and a couple of other locations as well. Think about where you're planning to eat though. So come up with a plan of maybe what dining facilities are closest to your classes that you're going to be frequenting, what's closest to your res hall. Take a look at what options you have available to you and keep in mind that not all dining facilities are going to have the same cost. So like an all-you-can-eat buffet is going to be probably the cheapest bang for your buck to get the most food for a most affordable price while on campus. And you can get down even deeper into making sure that your money is being used effectively for you in your meal plan. And what I mean by that is if you look at the campus meal plan, the best value on a campus meal plan is when you're dining at those on-campus facilities that are going to give you that large discount on the food you're eating. It's close to 60%. So look at, like, for example, breakfast, overnight oats from a bowl. If you were to buy that using your dining dollars, right, at a campus dining location, that meal would cost you around $3.67. However, if you were to use Lion Cash and not the campus meal plan, that meal would cost you around $9.44. And if you were just to go in and swipe a credit card for that very same bowl of oats, it's going to cost you $10. So think about where you're eating and what your plan is for eating on campus. And you can even get this down to, like, on Mondays for lunch, I eat at this location. And that way there's some predictability in your meal plan, and you're making sure that you can stretch those dining dollars, because ultimately the way that Penn State meal plans work is that you're going to have a large sum of money put into your dining dollars account at the beginning of the semester. And it's up to the student, it's up to you to stretch that throughout the entire time that you're on campus. And this is so critical for a lot of students to realize this right up front, especially new students who are new to this system, making sure that you are thinking about your meal plan in December while you're eating in September. So make sure that you are effectively eating through your dining dollars so that you don't have either too much dining dollars left over, but even worse, too few dining dollars in December to pay for the meals that you need. And that's all going to come back to this first habit of just have a plan for your meal plan. Habit number 2 is changing how you shop. So again, whether you're a student or someone living in the community, maybe you have a family, it is so important to create a shopping list before you ever walk into a grocery store or a little tienda on campus. And that is because that shopping list is going to keep your budget honest and accurate. If you don't have a shopping list and you walk into a grocery store, it's going to be pretty hard to stick to some kind of mental shopping list. So have that shopping list. Think about what you're going to buy before you even walk out of your house. That shopping list, if you're wondering where that should come from, return to habit number 1, to your meal plan that you've made, what you're going to eat. So if you know that you are going to have a couple of meals every single week, make sure that your shopping list includes all the ingredients you'd need for those meals. For a student, maybe the shopping list is just going to be sort of your snacks and extra sort of go-to meals that you might have as a quick breakfast or a little granola bar between classes. Think about where you're shopping for these items and think about having a list for them before you go and shop for them. So create that list. Before you walk out of the house, though, you might have the list. Shop your pantry first. Check what's in your fridge. Make sure you don't already have some of these items and look for those really effectively. And then think about where you're going to shop. So not all grocery stores are going to have the same cost for an item. So if you're looking for toilet paper, you can do a little bit of searching before you even get in your car and drive to a store to see which store is going to have the best deal on that toilet paper, right? We all have probably experienced this walking into some grocery stores that are just going to be more expensive. Maybe they're a little more boutique, but it is really important to think about where you're going to shop for, especially big shopping lists, because you can really see the savings if you shop at some more budget locations. So check that out in your community. See what is a good place to shop for the things that you need. For a student, think about, again, what's the location that you're shopping at? If you're using your dining dollars, are you going to a location on your campus that is going to cost you more, right? Do they not accept that? Do they not have that 60% discount? And instead, you're going to be paying sort of close to that Lion Cash price. So think about where you shop, know ahead of time close to what the item is going to cost you. And then finally, think about how you can make it easier for yourself to stick to those items. And I'll tell you one of the things that I do for this. I think grocery store apps are a really excellent way to sort of keep you honest with your shopping list. So for example, let's say I shop at Giant and Giant has a grocery store app that I can download and I can look at what items are available. I can see how much they cost and I can make a decision about whether that's going on my shopping list or not before I even walk out the door. So I'm not walking down the aisles, just sort of putting things in my cart. So I can distill the list before I leave the home, but I also can get an idea of what it's going to cost me because those items on the list, I'm going to get a total within the app. before I ever even go to the store. So if that amount sort of surpasses what I've budgeted for food, if it's surpassing that 20% of my monthly budget or 20% of my weekly budget, however I'm budgeting, I need to pivot at that point before I even get to the store. This is a lot harder to do if you're standing at a checkout counter, right? Because you don't want to be like, oh, pull this out, pull this out. It's awkward, it's cumbersome, it takes time. And if you're shopping on an app or you're looking ahead and shopping through the internet, you haven't even gotten to the store. So it's just as easy as sort of unclicking, like, don't want this, delete this item from my shopping cart. You can also get other people to do the shopping for you. A lot of stores will have kind of the, we shop, you pick up the groceries. This is a great way to stick to that shopping list. You're not even going to be tempted to put things in the cart because you're not in the store. So think about some of these sort of ways that you can both save time and be more efficient, but also stick to the shopping list that you created. Habit number 3 is to look for a deal. So there's lots of ways to consider where you can sort of get the most bang for your buck on food items. If you're a student on campus, I want you to think about 2 of the sort of larger hacks that I've discovered. So Penn State Go is an app that's going to allow you to sort of check the value of menu, check the value menu and the combo items for that that week or that day. You can also look at market sale flyers, and you can look at Penn State deals on the Penn State Go app. So if you're really trying to shop the deal at Penn State on campus, check out the Penn State Go app. Also, I want you to think about one of a really effective sort of large scale deal for Penn State students, and that's that the Penn State campus dining employees, student employees will get a free meal before or after their shift, and they get $2 off any meals at any other time, or $2 meals at any other time. So think about that, that benefit, and how, if you're a student who's really trying to be cost effective in how you're managing your budget while in school, think about those benefits of maybe being a student employee. So on top of working for dining, you are also making a paycheck, and you're getting an even better deal on some of the meal plan expenses that you would have. So for everyone else, also think about comparing prices. We already talked about this a little bit, but think about what store brand products may be available. So this would be like if when you're in a grocery store and you see, use the olive oil example again, there's a price for sort of your name brand olive oil, but then next to that, you might have like the store version of that olive oil. You know, depending on sort of what your need is for the item, check and see if it's really the same item for lesser cost. So that's a really good way to sort of look at comparing prices while you're shopping. Using coupons is another really excellent way to look for a deal. However, in the center, we really caution people surrounding coupons. You're going to get coupons mailed to you, find them in grocery stores. But coupons are often designed to get you to actually buy more than you intended. So we have to go back to that habit number 2 and say, stick to your list. Because if you have a coupon for something on your list, great, use it. But don't let the coupon be the reason that you buy something that wasn't on the list. Like, oh, what a great deal, I should buy it. Really, you're just spending more than you ever intended, even though that more was a little bit discounted. So think about that. It's not always the deal that it looks like, but if it's on your list and you can get a coupon for it, then go ahead and use that coupon and be strategic. Buying in bulk is another great way to save money. Think about when you buy in bulk, buying things that can go in the pantry or the freezer. Again, go back to that meal plan that you had. What is it that you're going to consistently eat? And you can buy sort of larger bulk items for. So pasta, another great one. If you know you're going to have a certain pasta dish a couple times a month, go ahead and buy bulk for that. It'll stay in your pantry and really be a good go-to meal for you. Obviously, there are some stores that are going to do bulk a lot better than others. So keep in mind sort of the Aldis and the Costco's out there that can really give you a good bang for your buck. Seasonal produce. So produce that's in season is always a great way to shop, shopping fruits and veggies that are on sale that week. But also think about if if the produce is not necessarily something that you're going to use right away, or if there's a lot of great produce that you're buying, are any of those fruit or vegetable items something that you could get the canned or frozen version of? Sometimes those are a lot less expensive. So let's say it's something that's going to go within another dish. Maybe you can buy the canned version of that, and not only are you going to give yourself a little bit of savings on getting the canned version, but you're also going to sort of be able to prevent food waste by only buying the fruits and vegetables that you're going to eat immediately that are fresh and in season. And then you've got sort of this backup round of canned or frozen vegetables that you can incorporate into your meals, maybe at the end of your week. So nothing is going bad at the back of your refrigerator. Don't check out at checkout. That's the other really good tip. So make sure that when you're standing at checkout, if you are in the store, you are looking at every item as it beeps across the little scanner and seeing, like, is that the price that it said it was going to be? If you saw that there was a deal, are you getting that deal? Is there a discount applied? I can't tell you how many times that I've asked, like, hey, it looked that, that said that it was on sale, and I'm not seeing that come up. And it's just like, oh, well, let me see. Oh yeah, you're right. So take a look at that. Make sure you're not checking out, make sure that you're paying attention to things as they're scanned across. And also, it's a good accountability measure. So let's say there isn't anything that's coming across wrong, but you are able to sort of account for, like, oh yeah, I did put that in my grocery cart, and wow, that is expensive. And maybe the next time you're able to think about what that cost is, as opposed to just sort of being a spontaneous purchase. The final deal that I want you to think about is if you're ready to have some kind of rewards program, right? You have a consistent enough shopping habit formed of where you're shopping, having a list, buying in bulk where you need to, knowing which store you're going to sort of frequent the most. Think about getting a rewards program at that store. A lot of rewards programs are going to save you a lot of money if you have sort of consistent shopping there. So if you're at that point, you've been working these habits and you sort of have a plan and an idea of what your monthly or weekly shopping list looks like, consider looking for those rewards program deals. You can save a lot of money there. Habit number 4. This is probably one of the most expensive pieces of our budget that we might not realize just how much money we're spending on that, and that is dining out. So if you reconsider dining out in your budget, or at least consider it at all, right? Take a look at how much you are spending on eating out. So the average American pays about $232 a month for a commercially prepared meal. So at an average of about 4 to 5 meals out a week, that's going to be 18 meals per month. So each individual meal, let's say the price is doubled. So eating out would be like $12.75, whereas that same meal at home, buying the items at the store and preparing it yourself, would be $5. So that's over double exactly what you're going to eat. So having that double expense for 18 or more meals a month is quite a lot of money that you could have saved and put towards something else. Why is dining out so expensive? We have to think about how when you buy the food at the store and you prepare it yourself, you're taking out of the cost of that original food item at a restaurant for labor, real estate, all the things the restaurant's having to pay for to prepare that meal for you, whereas you are providing that for yourself. So the meal can be quite more expensive if you eat out, especially if you're eating out in an area where real estate prices are quite high, because they're paying quite a large amount for that space to house the restaurant and prepare your meal. So it's a really easy way to create a lot more savings in your monthly or weekly budget of just looking at the habit of how much are you dining out? Could you cut back even just a little bit, even just one meal a week, right? That would be significantly more savings per month that you could put towards something else. So take a look at that. The first step is always just sort of tracking your eating out habits, because I think a lot of us don't really know exactly how much we're eating out on a weekly or monthly basis. And if we did see that number, we'd be like, wow, that's quite a lot. So track those habits and then reconsider, is there any way to cut back? Maybe even just one meal a week. right? That's a great place to start. Habit number 5 is to track your food expenses on a budget. So we talk a lot about budgeting in the Financial and Life Skills Center and the importance of a budget being honest and accurate. The reason we need our budgets to be honest and accurate and not a fairy tale budget where we just list what we would like to do is because if you just have that fairy tale budget saying, oh, well, I'm planning to do this, there's no way to really hold ourselves accountable and have any true idea of whether our habits resulted in actual cost savings. So a budget is a way for you to sort of tell your money spending story, right? On some sort of consistent basis, weekly, monthly, biweekly, so you can learn what your habits are. So just like with dining out, if you don't track when you're dining out, you're never going to know exactly how much you could be saving on maybe dining out less, right? So a budget for your food is going to allow you to track your dining habits and create a plan for creating greater cost saving within those habits. So you have to go back into your budget that you made saying, okay, I'm going to eat here, 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 I'm going to have these meals. And you have to actually track what you did. What did you buy? Did you end up eating that? Did you go to the grocery store more times than you anticipated? So this habit of tracking is essential to all budgeting, but it's especially essential with food because, again, it is a variable expense that we have on a reoccurring basis. So keep track of that food budget. Go back in, look at your habits. If you're a student, the best place to start with this is to go into your e-living account and just check your balances, right? If you can see on this graphic that if you're through that first fourth of the semester, let's say September 16th of the fall semester, you've got a really good benchmark for, am I effectively managing my meal plan budget? Am I past the point in my dining dollars that I need, further past that point that I need to be? So on September 16th, you should be about 1/4 of the way through your dining dollars. So if you're on the level 2 plan, you should still have about $806 remaining if you've eaten about 1/4 of those dining dollars. I say eating the dining dollars, but you know what I mean. You're eating through, you're purchasing meals and you've purchased about 1/4 of your purchasing potential. So think about that and think about how that breaks down weekly. How much does that mean in order to keep at pace with that 1/4 or 2/4 of the way through the semester? Think about how much you need to spend on a weekly basis. So checking your e-living account is going to tell you, how am I hitting these benchmarks? Do I have enough money to last for my dining budget throughout the rest of the semester? A really great tool for this is going to be our meal plan budgeting worksheet that we give to students in the center. So this is an Excel sheet that literally breaks down how much you have left in your dining dollars, but it also helps you do this tracking progress of where did I eat this week? How much did it cost? Did I buy a coffee for $4 at a Starbucks? And think about how you're spending your dining dollars and what sort of habits that you have week to week on that. It will help you become more mindful of how you are spending your dining dollars. So that resource is found on our resources page of the Financial and Life Skills Center website, which we'll link. We also have a video that explains sort of how to create that budget and then track the meals that you're eating on campus with your meal plan budget. So check out that resource. If you'd like help, beyond watching the video, if you'd like help creating that with one of our financial counselors, I highly recommend setting up a one-on-one appointment to sort of come up with a plan for your meal plan. This is going to be a great thing to do at the start of a semester, right? So when that new amount of dining dollars comes into your account, being able to sort of come up with a plan for it, come up with a tracking plan, and then have someone to sort of keep you accountable to that. So really important to sort of honor all of these habits, but to begin thinking about holding yourself accountable to your dining budget and any tool that you can use in that journey is really, really important, especially for new students on campus. All right. So again, we've got lots of resources to help you with your budgeting needs and beyond. We're happy. We're a team full of financial educators that are really thrilled to meet with any student or community member in group presentations, webinars, one-on-one. You can use our self-study modules. And we hope that you use this service, and we hope that you are able to really budget effectively for your food and your dining. So thank you very much for listening in today.